Okay, here's my sawmill, and it'll actually cut up to 16 feet. I normally am cutting like 9 foot, trying to get 8-foot boards out of it. And it's run by a Wisconsin engine. It's way bigger than what it needs to be, but that's what I had. And it just runs off of, I got a couple Acme screws, one on each side, that I use to raise and lower the platform. There's a old 1/2-inch drill up here that I use to run it up and down. Gas tank's up on top. And the blade, let me move you around here. The blade's down here. These are the guides. This one is adjustable. And there's a handle over there. I'll show you here in a minute. And then here is the other guide right there. Those are just made out of bearings. And then there's the 2 wheels that are just some shivs that I bought that actually are for this purpose. Alright, let's show you how it runs. Alright, so I put these in here and lock them in. And this is what I'm going to roll the log up against. And then I'll get my tractor and roll the log in here. Alright, so now I've got to lower these, and this log's pretty warped, so it's not gonna cut great. But anyway, I got to lower this down enough so that I won't cut into it. I'm just turning these with the dog to the front. And I want to try to get this log a little flatter. There we go. Alright, now on the front side right here, I've got these shorter dogs. I come around this way where you can see. I got these shorter dogs that I put in place, and I've got a spring on a chain that I catch right there. You can see that one of them right here. This is just a chain from an old trampoline from a friend of mine. And I pull that, and that just holds it tied up against there. Okay, so now we're going to start opening this log. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this log is backwards. I like to have the small end facing the other way, but it's almost the same both ways. But, alright, let's get it started. Alright, so I've got to adjust my guide and pull it over out of the way. Like that, make sure it's not going to hit on the travel down. And then, like I said, to me, this log is backwards. If this was the small end, I would do this. I would come down just a little bit more, and I would open this log, and then I would have a flat plane all the way across. This one I'm going to have to drop down a little bit more because the other end is smaller. So, let me go ahead and do that. Alright, let's try that right there. What? Alright, so that was our first cut. And so there's our first cut. We did get a flat spot all the way down. So we're going to take another cut off the top of this. Okay, so over here on the side, I've got a ruler and a marker right here. So that's how I read how deep I'm going on my next cut. So I'm going to lower this and I'm going to cut 1 1/8 inches. I'm trying to make my boards, I go down 1 1/8 inches each time because my blade's going to cut not quite 1/8 of an inch but almost, and that gives me roughly a 1-inch board. Okay, so there we're set for our next cut. I'm coming down until, see, this one, when I flip it, I'm going to cut down to this edge right here. So I'm looking at kind of a 90-degree angle off of that face. So now I'm ready to turn it because I'm going to flip this up and then I'm going to cut this off. I might do 2 cuts. I've got to then get another edge here and here. So I'm bringing this down until the edges are far enough out that they look like something I want to try to cut off there. I'm not really cutting to a certain dimension. I'm just trying to get as much lumber out of this log as I can. Alright, so I've got to take these dogs loose. And sometimes they're jammed in there pretty good. I have to tap them. I'm going to cut this one loose down here. Need to put this here just for it to slide on for a minute. Okay, then rotate that up, flat up against this side right here. And now I'm going to bring this dog back in to hold it up nice and tight. Now, I'm going to lower this back down. Well, there we go. Lower that one. Push it hard up against there. Alright, we're ready to reset for the next cut. Alright, so I'm set up for my next cut, and what I've done is I brought the blade down to the top edge of that other cut. And I'm going to cut that off, and then I'll probably cut another board and then flip it. Now this one's got a belly in it, and that's why I didn't really get much of a cut there. That next one will bring it on down maybe to a flat board. So I'm going to get a couple more cuts and then we'll be back. Okay, so that last cut brought us all the way over here to this edge. It's still kind of coming in right here, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it, but that means we're going to have to bring it all the way down to here to start getting good lumber. But that's what we're going to really have to do on this one. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get it turned. Alright, so now we're going to get this edge down. Let's see. And this log's wide enough I can move it around. Now I've got these little short dogs that are welded to the frame, so I can just knock it up against that on both ends. That allows me to cut all the way down to 1.5 inches. Then these have the same dogs on them. Again, I bring those in, and we'll start opening up this side. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the blade down to the top of that edge right there. Okay, so now if I make a cut right across here, that'll give me a pretty good log. Okay, so I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to cut that off right there. Alright, we'll be back just a second. Okay, so now I'm set up here, and I'm a little bit higher than I wanted to be, but I'm going to start cutting this into lumber. So I've got to be at an exact place, because remember I said that I do 1 1/8 inches for each cut. So I am now set up to do 1 1/8 inches all the way down to the bottom, and have a 2-inch board left sitting on my bed when I'm done. And that's what I do with all of them when I get to this stage, and that way I wind up my bottom board is consistent, and then I can sticker those at the end and dry them out, and I'll have some 2x stock to do. Alright, so now I'm going to cut this off, and then after that I'm going to start just laying them off. Okay, so this log again wasn't very straight, so I don't have a full cut down here. So I'm going to have to lay off another one to get down to where I need to be. If this had been a straight log, I would be getting ready to cut lumber, but I'm going to take this piece off and then I'll be ready. Alright, this is a pretty interesting stage. The first time you run a sawmill and you get right here and you see that you got this giant beam, it's really cool. It's like, wow, this thing is really awesome. So, but what we're going to do is from here on down, we're just going to cut this into 1x boards, and we'll leave a 2-inch down at the bottom. Alright, so this is the last thing left. It's roughly a 2-inch board, and we're done with that log. I hope that was helpful. It wasn't really my intention to show my specific sawmill and how it works. It's a homemade sawmill, and probably nobody will ever make another one quite, exactly like it, because I just made it from what I had. But I just thought, people had asked me, I always talk about the lumber that I use came from my sawmill, and they've asked me what my sawmill looked like, so I just thought I'd put that out there. Anyway, appreciate it. Thank you for watching.